In this episode, I'm going to continue with the restoration of this old Chattanooga Southern from the Chattanooga Choo Choo bay window caboose. So let's get inside. Howdy train fans, welcome back to the Chattanooga Southern Railroad. So I am back at the workbench. I've decided to take a break from the backdrop and fascia today and work on restoring this old Chattanooga Southern bay window caboose in the green scheme. This was one of the original Chattanooga Choo Choo's Chattanooga Southern cabooses. I probably saw this in my childhood running around that layout that is no more. And so what I've done, if you watch one of the previous videos or shorts on this, it was quite dirty. So I gingerly soaked this briefly in some hot water or warm water with some Dawn dish detergent and tried to clean it up the best I could. Some of it came off, most of the dirt came off of it, particularly on the roof walk. It really had it ground in. You can kind of see it's still there a little bit, but I plan on weathering this a little bit. So I didn't want to scrub too hard because I cannot replace these decals. You can see this one's kind of worn off a little bit on this side, probably from how they were storing it. It came to me that way. This one's still in pretty good shape. So now that I've got this cleaned up the best that or as far as I'm going to do with this, and the walkway and also the platform, I'm going to go ahead and start tuning this up and reassembling it. And I thought I'd take you along for the ride. I did use a Q-tip in some of the hard to reach spots to get the water out, to clean that up. It obviously had the original Athearn wheel sets. I'm ditching those. You can see those are pretty rusty. I'm going to full metal wheel sets like I do on all of my trains. I'm going to put KDs on it. It had it didn't even have couplers when I got it, if I remember correctly. So a couple things I'm going to need to do is I've got these old Athearn handrails. It was missing one of them. The other one was really badly bent up. I don't know if I'm going to keep the yellow on it. We'll see. I may repaint these. I haven't decided yet. Everything else seems to be intact with all the screws and whatnot that I need to put this thing back together. So I'm going to get all these parts out real quick here. Including these truck bolsters, because I'm going to have to tune those up. My ladders going up each side, I'll be able to put those back in. The two steering brake wheels. It did come with the satellite dish and also the red-green marker light stand, so I have to put those back on as well. And here's the other screws, if I can get them out of the box. My fat fingers are not working properly right now. And of course, these I had these end rails from a previous build that I tried to do. Look, I'm knocking stuff off already. How do you like that? And so we'll set the box aside for now. Give me a clean place to work here. I'm going to get out my tuning tool here, because I know I'm going to need that. I don't think I'm going to need anything else to do. Oh yeah, I probably would need a screwdriver. So I'm going to get that one and this one. I think these are all flathead, so I don't need that one. All right, so let's see what we got here. So I'm going to build this most of the way and then go from there. You know what I don't have are the metal clips for the KDs, so I'm going to have to get a couple of those out here in a second as well. Let me go grab some of that and then we'll be right back. All right, so I'm back here. Finally found my clips for the couplers boxes. I also grabbed out my washer set, KD washer set, in case I have to adjust the ride height for this thing. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to put this, actually, you know what we're going to do first? We're going to tune these trucks up. That's going to be number one. So go ahead and pop this in here. Run this. This is a Micromark tuning tool. It's got a cutting edge on one side. You always need to flip it over. And it will take some shavings off. I don't know if you can see that on screen or not. Flip it around. You always have to do each truck 4 times. You can kind of see the collection of stuff there. Okay, so there's one done. Clear that off. Grab the other bolster, or the other truck frame, I should say. Whew, need more coffee or something. There's that one. There's that one. There's that one. And I think I got this one already, but now pieces or chunks are coming off. I don't know if you can see that, but it pulls quite a bit. You can see it on my hands there from, blow that off. I think I got all of them. All right, so we're not going to put these back in, so we're going to set those over there to go into a loaded gondola or something. I'm going to pop these back in. Oops. If I can keep a grip on it. And that should roll really smooth. Look at that. So we got one done. And now we'll plug these in. Like so. Like that. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Okay. Let's keep going. So, first thing I want to do is I want to put this in. Probably be helpful if I turned it the right way. Alright. Got that like that. Now, the way this works is you want to, I'm going to go ahead and do the long screws here first for the trucks. Take those down. What I like to do is take it down as far as I can. Seems about right. Did I put that on upside down? No, I did not. Well, how do you like that? Let's try that again, shall we? It'd be helpful I get it in the screen too. So I'm going to go ahead and put this. Sorry, my big fat hand's in the way. It's nice that the threads have already been cut on this. Makes it a little easier than that first time you build one. And I only like a little bit of rocking in mine. This one's still a little loose compared to the other one. Yeah, a little too much. I know people like to do what they call the 3-point method, where they leave one loose. Yeah, these are still a little tight. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. About the same. All right, there we go. You notice they don't necessarily come up through the thing. So now we need to put the main weight on. And we do that with these other 2 smaller screws in the other holes. So this one here Like, again, it's nice that these threads have already been cut from the original assembly. Some of them were pretty tight to come back out again. They've been in there so long. So I don't want to over tighten them. All I'm trying to do is get that weight to sit down. I'm going to loosen this just a little bit so I can center this weight a little more. There we go. I'm just going to take those down like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mount the couplers. And I'm using the 148s. Okay. Put that, hold that there. I'm going to grab my, I guess, box spring. Sounds like I'm building a bed. I'm going to move that up and then snap it right on. I'm going to do the other side as well. And with these whisker couplers, I like to come in a little bit from the end to kind of bend those whiskers down. Or get them to slide into the slot. And that one popped on. And then I'm going to just do a quick test. Yep, it's recentering. Everything's working good there. All right. So next thing I want to do before I get any further is I want to check the coupler heights in case I need to put some washers in there. So I'm going to put this up on my little test track. I've got KDs on either end here. And it looks like we've got, well, we're just, yeah, it looks like we're just a hair low on both sides. So what I'm going to do now, clean this back off, is I'm going to pop these back off. I'll tell you, this is, in addition to tuning the trucks themselves, like you just saw me do with the Micromark tool and putting metal wheel sets on these. This next step of getting your couplers the right height for all your equipment is probably the next biggest improvement you can make to help get your cars to run smoothly with one another. The third one that we're going to do, so trucks tuning is 1, coupler height is number 2. The third one we're going to do here as well is properly weight this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of reds. So the reds and grays have different thicknesses to them. I don't know if I can get this on here or not. There we go, popped on. By the way, trick to getting these out of the thing because they're hard to pick up. Just touch your tongue and then it'll pick it up right out of that bin. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to come back down on this, tighten this up. And I do like to, when I put a washer on for the first time, I like to over tighten it a little bit because what that does is it seats that washer against the frame. So there we go. Got it to seat that time. We'll call that good there. And a lot of this is by feel, right? And then once I run it on the railroad, if it starts to derail, I know the trucks are too tight. That means they're not running with the rails, especially at crossovers, or not crossovers, but turnouts. I'm going to seat that washer. There we go. Back it off a little bit. This one's still a little tight, I think. Yeah, those feel about right. Okay, let's test it again. Ooh. Not quite sure what happened there. Oh, the coupler box came loose. Always helps if you have that engaged. Good shape on that end. And, oh, looks like the bars are still a little loose. So what I'm going to do is I have the micro mark version of the KD adjustment tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to give this a little, it's just a smidge out, and I don't want to put another. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a bend. That'll make it nice and straight. I'm going to do that on this end as well. You can do this with pliers too. I've done it. It's not as clean. And you really got to brace against that coupler so you don't break it. I'm going to do this one just a little smidge more. There we go. Put it back down on the thing. I don't have a lot of wobble. And I'm good there. And I'm good there. Am I good there? Yeah, I'm good there. Okay. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and put the walkway back on. This is just a couple of 4 pins. I'm not going to glue this. You can see it will go in, and you'll hear the pressure fit of it, even though I pulled it back off again from its initial. And if I wanted to, I'd come in and put glue in there to make sure that it stays if I have a problem later on. So there we go. So what I want to do now is, now that I've gotten that step done, I'll move some of my tools here. And what I want to do now is slide over my scale. If I can get it out here to the center. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but you're not going to be able to see it. Okay, so let me move this. Whoa. So what I want to do now is I want to weigh this. Okay. Well, first thing I want to do is I want to measure it. So I've got a measuring scale on my pad here. So this from coupler to coupler knuckle is 6 inches. So the way NMRA does is it's 1 ounce plus a ½ ounce for every inch of car. And so this is a 6-inch car. So this should be weighing right around 4 ounces in total. So I got 2 of that. There's the body. And I make sure you put on all your pieces, right? Because they do add up. If you got any detail parts you're going to put on, you want to put those on here as well. Okay. So 2.6 ounces. So I need another 1.5 ounces of weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my weight stack here, and I want to equally divide the weight over the trucks. That's what I like to do. So there's a ½ ounce weight that'll fit between the body there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of those on. I'm also going to put another one on. So that gets us up to 3.6. Now I need to add some in the form of 1/4 ounce weights. I've got what I'm using are these are motorcycle wheel weights. And I bought them in the black so that if I have like a box car or something like that that you could see into, they would be less obtrusive visually. So we'll put one of those on. And there we are, 4 ounces total. Okay, so that's perfect fit for us, for what we need. So now that I've got that done, I know I need these weights, and I'm going to be equally dividing it between the 2 trucks. So I'm going to turn this off. Take this back over to my, oops. Pull my detail parts back over here. I'll put this back where it belongs. Here. Moving all kinds of stuff around on you, aren't I? Can you keep up? It's kind of like that shell game. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount these weights. And so, like I said, these will fit this direction. If they will not, they will barely fit that way. I just try to be safe with them and I go the long way. Okay. So I'm going to take the adhesive off the back, and I will warn you, once you stick that down, it's not going anywhere. That adhesive is designed to go on a motorcycle wheel that's spinning at thousands of revolutions a minute. Okay. So I'm going to put this up against this screw because I want to get over top of that truck as much as I can and stick it down. I'm going to do that with the other weight. Again, in the kind of like the longer orientation. Yours might be square when you buy them. Push those down. Those are now nicely seated. Now I'm going to put this next weight on. If I can get my fingernail to get that paper off. And then on this one, I'm going to stack it right on top, back towards that cup, or back towards the truck, center of the truck. The center of the truck's right here, just so you know. I'm trying to get it as far and over top of those trucks as I can. I could put them in here, but I find that if the bulk of the weight is over top of the truck, they tend to run better. So there we go. So that's nicely weighted now. So now I need to do a little bit of more assembly. And I think for right now, I want to make sure, you'll notice on a bay window caboose, it has these battery box, toolbox things hanging down. And you want to, if you look at the frame, you'll see that the corresponding ones are here and here to help keep those from breaking off. So you want to make sure you got this in the right orientation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pop that back on. You'll hear it pop back into place. So it's starting to look good now. And it's feeling nice and weighted. There it goes, finally snapped in place. So now what I'm going to do is I need to do a little work with these. So the brake wheels I usually put on first. And I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm putting this one on this end. If I can get it to slide in there. Go until seats. There we go. Just like that. I'm going to do the other side. Remember, the brake wheel goes in. I've done that before too, where I've done all this work to get it in the right orientation. Okay, so now I got a brake wheel and a brake wheel. Okay, so now I want to do the handrails, and I'm just going to go ahead and put these on for now. I may do some cleaning up of this a little later, but you know, hey, looks good. So I've got that one. Now one up. Actually, I got it in the wrong spot. I want to come up over that. Oops. Come on. Like that. There we go. This one's got a little extra paint on it. All right, so there we go. Got that one mounted. Now we're going to do this one. I'm going to do this side first. Ooh. I'm going to have to glue that one. Both sides. No wonder it didn't have one. I just noticed that. The holes are gone. Ooh, interesting. That's why I was missing that handrail. I didn't notice that. All right, so what I think I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to do some gluing. So I'm going to leave that one off for now, because I don't think I've got enough of a hole left on either end of this to be able to get it to stay. No, I don't. All right, well, something to work on. All right, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put this ladder in. One trick I will tell you with these is you really want to make sure, A, that this ladder is straight at best or a little bit bowed to the inside to help you put it on. These you want to be wrapped around. They usually come when they're like sticking out, kind of like that. It makes it very hard to put it on. So what I like to do is I'll take a screwdriver or something like that and use that as a fulcrum point so I don't bend them in half. Okay. And then I'm just going to do it on this end here. This is if you look here, you'll see that one leg is longer. That's to help you start it. And so what I do is I put it in the hole down there. Oh, actually, let me try that again. I'm going to put these two at the top, get them into the walkway, and then you have to kind of push against the rail and get that first tine, the longer tine, started, if you can. Let's see if it'll, go ahead and get it to go in. It's going to be stubborn. I was worried about that. Well, it's going to be really stubborn. Not quite sure why. Because it should seat right on down. I'm not quite sure why it's not doing that. So let's pop that back out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if that hole is even open. I had some paint on it still. Okay. I'm going to clean it, use the long tine on the other one. That one's clean. All right, let's try this again. Start them in the top walkway, like so. Pull it up a little bit, bend it down. Oops, not like that. This is the one part of building cabooses that I found frustrating when I was a kid, because I wanted to build it so fast when I got a new kit, and trying to get these things in were a royal pain. There we go. Now, that's what it should look like. This is a little wonky. Again, I can do some cleaning up on that, but now that ladder's in, you see how that rung is all the way to the bottom. These are now in. It's got a little bit of an arch to it. I usually try to bend that back a little bit and go from there. All right. Well, I can't do much with the other side until I get this railing thing fixed. So we'll have to hold off on that. But in the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is if I can separate these, what I need to do now, I'll set these aside. What I need to do now is get this ready to go. And this one's seen better days, to say the least. Let's see if I can't use some pliers. This is basically just white metal. It is very brittle, so you have to be careful with it. If you start wrenching it around, eventually it will break, guaranteed. So I'm going to put these in what I think is about the right orientation for these. We'll see, and hopefully, if all goes well, it will go down into those holes just like that. Now, 2 of the 3 went in that time. So this is what I was, see how that bent like that? This is another one of those frustrating things. If anybody's got any tips, I'm all for them. Let's see if I can get this. Shouldn't be that hard though, right? Shouldn't be, in theory. What I'm going to do is I'm using the screwdriver just to kind of guide that piece over because it's such, whoop, there we go. It went in. Now, kind of get that in its best position. like it's kind of level. And we'll have to add some glue to that. All right, looks like I need to do the same thing with this as well. Yeah, we're way. Whoa. These are all bent up. Let's see what we got here. So we'll just do a little straightening. Pair of pliers. That's all I'm doing, is doing some straightening work right now. Nothing major. All right, and you'll notice that there's two on one side and one to the high side, so that'll help you orient it. And so I need to do that here. All right, now that I got the legs in position, what I can do now is put some glue on that. The other thing I need is a smokestack. Let me go see if I can find one of those. All right, so I found one of these T-type stacks that I could put in there. That should work pretty well. Really what I got to do left, these couplers are for that locomotive I'm doing the DCC on. But as you can see, it's looking pretty good. I do need to do a little bit of adjustment to this dish. Oh, see, that stand didn't go quite well. How do you like that? Blooper. Let's see if I can get this thing back into place there. They just don't, these white metal dishes are not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but I really want to try to keep this as original as possible. Here, let's see which, looks like that might be the right pattern. I know this is fun watching me fiddle with this. 1, 2, nudge that over. I ain't touching it. That's pretty good. Right there. It's not perfect. It's not ideal. I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment to that white metal, straighten it up a little bit. That's a little better. Okay. So there's the green jewels and the red jewels there. I'm going to have to put a little dab of glue on those to get them set in place. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. But for the most part, it cleaned up to be a whole lot better than what it was. I still have to do this and put on the end ladder. And I might do some tweaking to the handrail still. This one's still intact. I think I'm probably going to paint these yellow again, but I'll use a new yellow and then also paint these rails to the yellow as well. All right, let me show you where I've gotten to. I actually broke these wheels off. I had to go find 2 new ones out of my stash and put those in there. I've actually removed the paint, or as much of it as I can, from this handrail here, as well as this handrail here. And what I've done is I have attempted to glue this in place as best as I can. Well, how do you like that? Sitting there telling you I got it done, and I turned around and buggered it. Just that fast. Let's see if that'll hold now. Like that. Okay. So that should hold right where it is. And now that I've removed the paint from both of those, what I can then do is I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to put this, since it's not going to interfere with anything there, I'm going to go ahead and put the cap or the cab back on. If I can get it to slide down in there. Haha. There we go. Now it's starting to... Okay. So now it's starting to look like something. And I did go ahead and glue all these back on, right? So they're now in good position. I've bent the arms to make them look at least halfway decent. You can see that on this side as well. This one's needs a little more work to get it just right, but I'll get it there eventually. It doesn't have to be perfect in my mind. Just got to be what I would call close there. So, you know, it's not the most beautiful, but this was, I mean, you're looking at something that's like 1970s vintage Athearn, and I really don't want to bugger it up too much because it's more historic than anything else. But I got it cleaned up pretty well, got it tuned up, got it weighted up, got KDs on it, and now all I really need to do is wait for that railing to dry, and I think it might be there now since I used super glue. And I'm gonna try to put this in place if I can. We'll see. Get to watch me fumble with this. I'm going to use a pair of pliers and see if I can't get that to, there we go. Nicely went down into that. So now that one's in place. And now I'm going to come back over here on this side, and I'm going to do this one. Oops, has to go in front of that rail. Oops. Like I said before, trying to time those 3 points, these two rails, these hooked ends. There we go. It's funny, sometimes they just, you know, like bam, they just go in. Once you get it started, then you can pull it on in. So that's what it should look like seated. Nice bend at the top. This one's got a couple little buggers, but we can manipulate those a little bit. And that one's, although it's showing as seated, let me see. I'll do that, try and get that down in the hole. There we go. Now it's seated. All right, now we're good. So there we are. We've got KDs on. We've got trucks tuned up and rolling freely. We've got the roof rack back on. We've cleaned it up as best we can. I'd have to say that's looking pretty good to me. All right, so there you have it. A kind of a restoration, resto mod, I don't know what you want to call it. A couple of things I still need to do is I need to decide what color yellow I'm going to put, or if I'm going to put yellow. I may even try to do see if I can match that cream, maybe do the handrails in the cream. Don't know yet, but I can always do that down the pike. But right now it is tuned up, cleaned up, and ready to go back on my layout. Let me pull you a little closer so you can see it. Some good light here. There you go. Here's the end. There's the other side. There's the end. And there's the roof. And of course, the underneath. So I'm pretty tickled. Like I said, I remember seeing these running around the Chattanooga Choo Choo layout, and it's kind of cool that I have one now. So, all right, with that, we'll see you all on down the tracks. Have a great weekend. Bye. Hey there, did you like that video? Well, check out some of these others on the screen. Don't worry, I'll wait. Enjoy.